Welcome on this YouTube channel. So today we are going to continue with our series of video on C programming. So this is tutorial number 3, very important. So today we are going to start with the basic structure of a C program, as we said. So let me just move directly to my text editor. Good. So remember, this is where we ended. So if you are following on this video, my advice is watch the previous video first. Good. So everything depends on your level where you are concerning C programming. So I'm going to write a basic code here very fast before I start the explanation. Okay, so this is the basic structure of a C program. So all your C program will be having these different elements. So I'm going to explain them line by line so that you understand exactly what's happening. Because remember that the aim of this tutorial is for you to write code and you are able to understand each line of what you are writing. That's the aim. So here we are not just copying code or cramming. No, there's nothing like that, because all these things are very easy. The only thing you will need is the right explanation of all these, in fact. So concentrate very well. Now, so the first line that you are seeing here is what we call preprocessor directory. So let me go to the note so that from there I will be explaining it very fast. So the first thing here is what we call preprocessor directive. So generally what happens is, in C programming, there are some functions that you will not be implementing it. Meaning what? There are some functions that you'll be using without writing the code of those functions. So a preprocessor directive is just an instruction given to the compiler before the program is compiled. Meaning what? When you observe, if you go back to our code, when you are writing a C program, generally it's just a program that helps you to solve a particular task. Like here, this basic structure you are seeing here is just a simple C program to display this text you are seeing there. The text I'm trying to display here is a hello, my name is Paula A. And for me to write this instruction, I need to respect the structure of a C program. Good. But you'll be seeing that to display this message, hello, my name is Paula A, I'm using a function called what? Called printf. Good. Now the problem is, this function printf, are you the one who created the function? No, it simply means the function is coming somewhere, right? Good. So this library that you are including here, it simply means that we are trying to add some libraries into our source code, because this file here is a source file. I hope you are together. Good. So the source file is where you are writing your source code, and this source code will be used by the compiler. I mean that this is what the compiler will translate. Good. Now, before the compiler translates this your source code, it's going to include, in fact, the code coming from the include. Good. Like here, I'm going to explain this first one, but there are so many types of preprocessor directory. So this one you are seeing the hashtag include stdio. In fact, concentrate but on the stdio, because all processor directory will start with an hashtag. You see. Good. Now after hashtag here, generally include is when you want to include but another file. Like here, you know the structure of a file, name plus extension. So the file name here is stdio and the extension is .h. You see, meaning there is a file with this extension. So don't worry, we will reach a level in programming where we'll be writing code and you'll be seeing what is the use of this, what is the type of file having .h. Because remember that the extension of a C program normally is .c. So you are seeing that this is another special type of file. So we are going to reach this level. So don't worry. Good. So here we are indirectly doing what? So this hashtag include simply means that include the code found in the file stdio.h. Good. And this stdio simply means standard input output, meaning that the use of this first line is to include input and output function. So when I'm saying input and output function, let me just take an example. If I'm using an output function like printf, so you are seeing that this function is helping also output something, to display something. Good. Now, if you look inside the node, you'll be seeing the purpose of hashtag include stdio.h. I've explained it here. So it tells the compiler to include what? Standard input and output library. So I've defined what is a library here. A library is just a collection of pre-written code or function that the programmer can use to perform common tasks. So you are seeing that I'm using some function, and those functions, they are code, in fact, written by another person. Written, in fact, by the person that created the language, you see. Good. So there are some function that is already ready for the user. So people are just using it when they are writing their own program. So this is the first thing to note. Now, the second thing here is what? Comments in C. Good. So comment simply means comment are simply text that you can add to your code for explanation purpose. Good. Like here you are seeing that it's a small text here. This is an output function. Good. So this is not part of my code. And if you realize very well, before writing this text, there's something here. /. You see. Good. So generally, when you are doing comment, the aim of the comment, in fact, is just to explain your code. Like, I can be writing a code today, but in 1 month, I come back to that code. I'm seeing it like that. I don't remember anything. That's why when you're writing your personal code, always comment. So how are we doing the comment? We have 2 types of comment. So know that very well. So let me just include them. The first time is what we call single line comment. Single line comment simply means you want to do a comment on a single line, like what I did here. And generally to do so, you need to include this // like that. So after putting this /, everything that follows their comment. When I'm saying comment, it simply means that when you're executing your code, the compiler is not seeing this. It's invisible for the compiler. It's only visible for you, the user. I hope you are getting it. Now, if I want to write multiple line comment, so another student will tell me that, okay, sir, I just need to go to the next line, write again my / and do so good. But when you're doing this, you're wasting your time. Generally, multiple line comment, this is how we are doing it. You put your anti/, you put your star, don't forget, like this. Good. Now you go, I don't know, let us say you want to end at line 17. You put again the star, then you put again the / like that. So in between this, anything that follow there is comment. Anything that follow. So I don't know the number of lines you want to write, but anything that follow there is a comment. Meaning that all this is invisible for your compiler. It's invisible for your compiler. Generally, you ask this question, when are you using this in the GCE? So in the GCE, in fact, you don't need to use comment. You can only use comment if you are trying to write a code and you think that you want to explain it to the examiner, like you want to tell the examiner what you are doing, you see, to avoid any misunderstanding of your work. So in that case, now you can add comment where you are explaining what you are doing. In fact, you say good. So, and it's very perfect. It's very perfect. So this is the only case you can use it when you are at the level of the GCE. Now, at the level of your study, like when you are watching this video, the best way to study very well is make comment. Like when you are watching my video, sometimes I can be telling things important concerning code. You just come here, you add a comment, you write what I've said in the video, so that next time when you are going through your code, you are studying it, at least you remember all of the different things you are writing there. Are you there? Very nice. Good. So that's the use of comments in code. Now we move to the next thing, which is very important, the main function. So the main function is these things here. So you'll be seeing that each time I'm starting my code, I'm always having a main function. Now before that, what is a function? So a function, in fact, is just a block of code that performs a particular task. It's all good. And generally a function that, or let me say generally that block of code is enclosed by opening and closing braces. Are you seeing that? When I place my cursor at the end of this first braces here, you see, directly he's going to show me, he's going to put a red mark, you see, on that braces, and put again the red mark on the closing braces, telling me that, okay, so for this function, everything inside here is my block of code, in fact, and everything inside these braces, in fact, simply represent the task I'm trying to realize. So all your different code will be written in this main function. Good. Now we will reach a level where we'll be writing code also out of the main, but you'll be seeing what's happening, because the main here, never forget it, the main function here is the door for the compiler. Meaning what? Here, see this as a house. So you are seeing that if your house is not having a door, no one can enter, and if you cannot enter, you cannot execute something. That is why this main program is always present. Always present. And what is the structure? The structure is int main. Good. You open the bracket, you close the bracket, then you open your brace to indicate the block of code. And generally, the best way to practice is, like, because surely you have observed how I was writing this code. Let me just clean this first. The best way is when you open a braces, always close the braces. This is the best practice here. So that now after doing that, you can just be adding line if you want, removing if you want, and you write your code in between. So this is the best way, because some students, in fact, in exam, generally they will open and they don't close. So get this attitude that when you open a braces, close it directly before writing the content. Very nice. Good. Now generally the structure here, in main, after writing in main, you open bracket, you close, you open your brace, you close, and Before means that the last line before the closing brace is always return 0. So what is the use of return 0? Return 0 is just used to indicate the end of your code. It's like when you're writing an algorithm, you always have something like start and end. That end you are seeing there, or the stop you are seeing there, is represented by return 0. Good. So at this level, I'm just explaining it the easiest way I can, because there are some notion we need to study before I enter in detail. Like another person will ask, why 0 here? Why that is not 1? Good. So we are coming to those type of things. But for the moment, this is what you need to know, so that at least when you are writing your first program, you don't omit this type of thing. Good. Now, after writing all these things, now anything in between the in main and the return 0 are instruction of your code. They are instruction of your code. Meaning all the different programs you'll be writing should be in between this. So don't go and write maybe one instruction here, under the return 0 you write another thing there. No. Anything written under the return 0 is no more executed, because return 0 here simply means stop, like go out of the code. We are done. I hope you are getting it. So nothing should be found in between that. That's why generally when you are writing your code, always make sure after opening the braces of the main, close it, and after and before the closing brace, in fact, write your return 0 before thinking of what you'll be doing inside here. This is the first thing, because some of you are very funny. I'm saying like that, but you'll be doing the reverse. Like after the in main, opening braces, directly you're already writing your instruction without finishing with this part first. So here I'm giving you good practice, meaning make sure you practice it using this style of doing things. Very important. Now, so this is all about the structure. Wait, let me check. So I've explained the main. Good. Now there's another thing I want to explain is in C programming, all instruction end with a semicolon. Like this return 0 is an instruction. Good. So I think you know the meaning of instruction. You see, like if I'm talking with someone, if I ask the person stand, this is an instruction I'm giving to the person. Good. Like here, return 0 is an instruction because I'm telling the compiler that okay, stop the code when you see this. So it's an instruction. Print F, this in fact is what? It's an instruction because I'm telling the code that display gist. So this is an instruction that end with a semicolon. Good. But yeah, when you are using this preprocessor directory, there is no semicolon at the end. Never forget it. Now the question you ask yourself is it obligatory to have this line? Yes. Why? Because remember that this line hashtag include here is helping us to have input and output function. And one of the characteristics of a good program is that it should have at least one output. You see, and if they are saying that it should have at least one output, in C programming, it simply means that you need to have what? A print F, because print F is used to display an output. Good. Now it simply means that imagine that you don't import this. It simply means that you have no print F. And if you have no print F, it simply means that you have no output. In that case, your code is not making sense. Very important to know that, because after writing a program like that, we need to execute. Good. Now, so we are going to continue. So before executing this code, I've explained the structure, everything is clean. Let us save our file. Good. And the next best practice I want to mention here is generally before even writing your code, always save your file before writing. So this is the small mistake I did by starting writing this before without saving. Now to save here is very easy. You go to file, you go on save. Generally, they save and save as. I will explain the difference between the two. The first thing, you go on save, and if you observe here, you'll be seeing Control S. So the shortcut of save here is Control S. So someone can do Control S and it's the same thing. So you click on save. But before clicking on save, another best practice, please let me do something. So I'm going to click here to hide this window. I hide this one. So the best practice generally is to go to the desktop of your computer. You right click and you create a new folder. Good. So I'm using Windows 11. Maybe your interface can be different, but at least creating a folder in advanced service, surely everybody know how to do it. Good. So yeah, this folder here, you can just call it maybe C programming practical, so that all the different practical that you'll be doing concerning C programming, you save it here. C programming. Good. So I'm calling mine C programming. Very nice. Now let me go back again to my interface. Good. So this is just a way of organizing our code than to save it just anywhere in the computer. Now I go to file. Good. You click on save. Good. So I'm clicking on save here because this is the first time. Save here simply means creating the file. Creating means giving a name to to your file. Good. But after creating the file, the next time you'll be saving the new modification that you're writing in here, you'll be clicking but on save as, and not save again. Good. So this is the first time you are trying to give a name, so that's why we click on save. Now when you read this level here, the next thing to do is what? You click on desktop. Good. So on your own computer you see desktop, then you look for your folder. So my folder was C programming. So you right click there. When you right click, always observe this bar up here. If the name of your folder is present, it simply means you are in. Because another mistake sometimes is that some students think that they have clicked, they are in the folder, whereas they are not in the folder. And after they will start checking your code everywhere. Now, at this level, Dev C++ or code block, generally they are used to write two programming languages. C programming and C++ programming language. C++ is also a type of programming language. But in advanced level, what we are studying is C programming language. Good. So seeing this software is used to write two types of languages, it simply means that when you are saving your file, you need to precise also the type of language you are using. Is it C or C++? So I'm going to show you where to precise that. So the first thing here is to give a name. So generally give a name based on what you are doing. So the first code that we are doing here is basic structure. So I will just write basic structure. Basic structure. So don't give name, don't leave space in between your name. So this is the best way. It's always possible, but don't leave space. Good, to avoid any problem. So basic structure. Good. So let me just add something in front. C basic structure. Good. So be giving name so that when you be revising for your exam, you just go through all your different files to avoid confusion. Now the next thing here is save as type. Very important, because some students after writing the name they click on save, they are done. No, you move to this second part here, you click on this drop down button and you choose C source file. Very important. After choosing this, you can click now on save. In this case, we are sure that we have saved it in our folder. And another way to be sure is, observe here, you'll be seeing that the name of your file is here. And another way to be sure that you have saved everything is look at something. Let me just move inside this code and let me just add a text. If I add a text, you observe that there's an asterisk here beside this name. So generally when you see asterisk here, it simply means that what? There's a new modification in the file. And when there's a new modification, how are you doing to save this? You just make your control S like that and you are saved. If you look again, beside the name, you'll be seeing that asterisk no more present. Are we getting that? Good. So generally this is where you'll be looking to know if you are safe or not. So now to execute, we just go to compile and run as we said. So I click there so you understand the process already. It's good. So this is my result here. So you are seeing that the text here is what? Hello, my name is Paula A. So this is the output, and after this it stopped the code because this is all what our program is doing. Very nice. So I'm happy we are done with the basic structure of C programming. Now the next part that we are going to study together, or the next video, we are going to study variables data type. Very important. So see you in the next video. Don't forget to like the video and leave a positive comment. Share it to anyone it can help. Thank you.